Hello everyone, welcome to episode 26 of Shooting the Shift. So what that actually means is, this is our 6-month birthday month anniversary.
Or we can make it Facebook official now. You can almost tell your parents about this relationship.
So,
hi Dad. I've been in a long-term relationship with 3 other men.
Milton, that only changes for the subscribers who've been in a relationship with 4 other men for the last 6 months. So first of all, what was that, Bren?
Just saying how lucky the subscribers are.
I know.
You should hit like. Instead of buying us flowers or beer, just hit the like button.
No. Buy beer. I'm running out.
Yeah, but if they hit like, if every subscriber hit liked, then you'd have loads of money, right? So you could buy more beer.
We've just had another new subscriber.
Hey, welcome. You're 6 months late, but we still love you.
Watch all the other stuff. Quick, go back in time and watch it all.
You're not going to see this till Monday till this airs.
Yeah. It is Monday because it's airing now, though, Matt.
Not when we're... No, it doesn't matter.
Well done, Matt.
Matt breaking the continuity of time again.
You're going to be a rubbish doctor, aren't you?
When was I trying to be a doctor?
So, I think it's really important that we forget that Matt wants to be a doctor. And we go into things. So, our most popular episode so far has been the one we did on the MX5, and kind of that's partly because a lot of you know...
I wonder why.
Well, it's because they all know we've owned MX5's, right?
Really?
It's just the best car.
But the reason for that, the reason we're going to do a part 2 to that today is we focused a lot on the NA and the MB MX5 in that first episode.
Good ones.
I've recently seen an article which Matt reliably informs me is a steaming pile of horse.
Hey, I used to swear.
I poo-picked this morning, Milton, so it's all right. I've already done it.
Put it this way: if that particular car looks exactly like that when it comes out, I will eat this shirt.
What shirt are you wearing?
He's wearing the May the 4th 1-day drop that they can't get anymore.
The one you can't buy anymore. This one.
Yeah, you can't buy it. No,
That's
you can't
it. Hang
buy
on,
it anymore.
Matt, turn around again. That's it. Stay like that.
Just Milton, don't you dare crank one out in the middle of an episode.
Wow.
So you've ruined my focus now. There we go.
So sorry for that slight diversion with Milton trying to be creepy with Matt.
No, I just didn't want to see his face.
Taking you 6 months to get the balls to say that, though.
Yeah.
Please, he hasn't got balls yet. They ain't dropped.
I'm a real boy.
He's feeling sassy again today, isn't he? Have you had a sugar?
He's had an energy drink. That's what it is. He's full of sugar.
So anyway, this article on Car Buzz kind of posited the theory about the NE MX5, I guess, the 2023.
Terrible name.
Is that going to be electric?
I don't know. So we're going to talk about that later in the episode, what we think is going to happen to the future of the MX5. But starting off, let's just get into the one with the Duratec engine.
Is this a Friends episode?
The boat.
The boat. This is
I don't know where the
one with the
name
boat,
came
the
from.
one with the Duratec engine. The NC, it is basically a Friends episode because you could fit the entire cast in it.
No, you can't. You can't. It may be the size of the entire cast, but you can't fit them all in it because the NC is absolutely f***ing tiny inside.
Okay, right. So
Noted.
I mean, that's the only MX5 I've not driven.
Same.
I've driven one. And it scares me that I like it a little bit to drive.
So from what I understand, they are very good cars. And it's Car Throttle did one around the 30th anniversary, and he drove all 4 of them. And I think the second best for driving he rated as the NC.
And the first best?
Yeah,
Mark
no.
1. And
Why would it be the Mark 1? That's incorrect. The Mark
No,
1
it's
will
not.
have revisions and improvements.
the thing that
Yeah,
everybody
but it's missing an important feature that makes the Mark 1 the ultimate driver's car. Milton's got it.
Clout. Oh.
No limp
Yeah.
wrists.
And if you get it right, they do this.
the thing is, the thing that everybody forgets is the NC is basically a baby RX-8, and the RX-8 is a very Mazda only makes well-handling cars. Well-handling cars?
You ever
Well,
driven a
Cars
Mazda
that,
Bongo?
cars that
Matt?
handle well.
Well handled.
Have I what?
Have you ever driven a Mazda Bongo?
I mean, that's a van, so
The best handling van, though.
there you go.
So the NC is one of those cars that, John, I think I'd have one. I'd probably have one.
I've said, look, I've spoken to it in the past, and now we're talking about later drift games to build an Air Mark 3.
Yeah.
I really would like, that would be the next one I get.
I think the other thing with Mark 3s is they're starting to get a little bit more appealing because they're bottoming out. They're starting to hit less than $2,000, and you can pick ropey ones up for $1,000. But like all other MX5s, they're rusty as.
But they can't. I don't think they'll be as rusty as some of the Mark 1s that are going
You'd
for.
be surprised. Their arches go, and they go a long way away.
You don't need arches. That's what fiberglass is for, right?
It's the rear bit at the bottom of the arch where it meets the sills. I think
That's
I think
what
I've seen
side
some with-
skirts are for.
I think I've seen some with the subframes going as well.
I think that's part of the problem. The NC comes out. The NC comes out at a time. What? It was 2005.
2005, 6, something like that.
I feel like when you get into like post 2000, you're starting to get that disposability of cars starting to creep in.
Yeah.
Couple that with the Japanese ability to just
So for you, honey.
metal to build things from.
I think we've touched on this before, and I don't think it's the Japanese ability to use shit metal. What they do, if you buy a car in Japan that's equally as old as our one in the UK, it won't be rusty because they don't use salt on their roads.
That's less true. So I was watching a Summit episode.
I need to watch that still.
The other day.
Auctions.
Yeah, on the car auction, and they got to a stage here that's the same age as mine, has lived in Japan its whole life, and it's strut tops, and it's the whole inner bit of the front engine bay was foobarred.
But to be fair, not all roads in Japan get done, but there are some parts of Japan that do snow. But if your car lives in a part that doesn't,
they tend to use snow chains over there as well.
I think it's just one of those things. They do rust in Japan. They do go. It's just
less likely.
Yeah, you tend not to get the rusty examples coming over here because no importer, other than Motorhub, that infamous spot. I saw Bryn's face go, and I was like, "Is that a Motorhub face? Is he going to catch me out?"
The idea that no importer ever imports shit is complete bollocks.
No, I know that. But most of them aren't going to try and flog it as complete shit. They're going to at least fix it.
Or fiber filler over it.
Yeah. So but I think it's more the metal. They do choose a thinner metal because they can get away with that thinner metal in Japan most of the time.
Yeah, and I think that's what it boils down to. It's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the NC
it's not as heavy as everyone makes out as well.
No,
it's been weighed.
What
does it weigh, Matt?
While
you're out of focus?
I think it's just over 1,200 kilos, or just under. It's not as much as everybody makes it out to be.
It's with the hardtop, with the folding hardtop, it's 1,153 kilos, and then power output's
that's the thing that impresses me, especially on the 2 litre.
The 2 litre is a 170 brake car.
So there's some MX5
I'm chasing that number in my 1.8.
Yeah, this is the thing. Even after I bolted a supercharger to mine, I was only putting out about that. And then I think if you get some versions, I think you get 180 or plus. But the other thing is, if you buy the 2 litre, you automatically get an LSD.
Yeah.
Is there a 2 litre Sport as well?
Yeah, the 2 litre Sport is the one with the LSDs. That's the one you want to buy. But there's a few. Well, there's a couple at least that are fairly straightforward for engine swaps as well.
Yeah, I certainly think there's a couple that I'd be more interested in. So I prefer the look of the facelift, so the 2008 onward, the NC2.
Yeah, the NC2 and the NC3 are the ones I like. But this is the bit that I like. So the NC1 is the one with all the round bits. It's a bit too round. Yeah. Most people prefer the 3.5 and the 3.75, the NC2 and 3.
It's a Google logo. You
can get the headlights and the bumpers from the newer models and just bolt them to the NC1. Mm. It's fairly jigsawy. It's actually shockingly easy. And if you want to put if you put the 3.5 on the 3, you don't even need to take the headlights. You can get some inserts from some places just to fill the gap.
Yeah.
And then you get the look you want. You only have to pay a couple of grand for the car.
So though, the looks like it's the NC, the first one.
Yeah.
I think that looks. We're not going to put it up on the page, but
it's those it's those Lexus style tail lights that I just hate.
If you go for a certain style, you can make it work.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of. As I say, I'm not a fan of like the Lexus style taillights. But all in all, like there's some special editions. You know, they did a BBR.
Mm-hmm. That was turbo, wasn't it?
That was
BBR turbo,
That was a turbo. There was 100 cars and it had 268 brake.
That I met somebody who turboed one, and he was running standard internals, and he was running 320 horsepower.
Was that Tom?
No, it was a local guy to Birmingham.
Oh. Tom Lingard did it, I think.
Yeah, I think he did it as well. But yeah, they're surprisingly sturdy, those Durotech engines. Like, you mock it for being a Ford, but if it'll take 300 horsepower from a bolt-on turbo kit, you're nearly doubling the horsepower.
Yeah, it's a decent engine, and it's very, 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 very well known. So you can do a lot of things to them as long as you go at the Ford pages and not the Mazda pages when you try and find out what you need to know.
Yeah. And then the other side of that is, like, you've just got to look at Clarkson's review of it. So Clarkson signed off his review by saying the only reason I'm giving it 5 stars is because I can't give it 14.
Yeah.
This hang on, so you can get big power, and Clarkson has given it a sign off.
Yeah.
Right, Auto Trader.
Everybody's too busy marking it. That's the thing. But there's two other things for me. There's 2 fairly straightforward engine swaps that can be done to the Mark III as well.
Yeah.
One of them is a Ford 2.5 litre engine.
What kind of power is that making?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
When you had the internet right in front of you.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly which engine it is.
I think like, you know, the point is it's a capable little car, and actually it's getting to the point where, you know, the Mark 1s are soon, even an average condition Mark 1 is going to be worth more than it in like 12 months. And the Mark 2s are rapidly chasing behind the Mark 1 in price. So if you're looking for a depreciating asset that's going to go up in like 3-4 years time, then go get an NC. That's kind of...
According to this, 175 horsepower.
But 2.5!
Yeah.
What are they playing?
I know exactly what they're playing at, Bryn. It's a Ford engine, so they're American. They just can't do it. They can't do the maths.
But you've got 2.5 litres to play with, so you start bolting turbos and forcing air through it, and you're going to get more power in the top end. But the other thing is it's a baby RX-8. So quite a lot of the RX-8 parts fit.
The rear diff, the whole subframe fits.
Yeah, all the drivetrains, the subframes, bigger brakes, thicker anti-roll bars.
The engine?
The spinny bit.
Yeah, that spinny bit fits onto the subframe that bolts straight in.
Interesting.
There is somebody who is doing that swap at the moment.
But I have met somebody who's done it, and for the amount of work and effort it is for 231 horsepower with no torque, it's not worth the effort, he said.
Spinny bit. He's wrong. He's so wrong.
Aren't you the rotary guy now? And you're saying it's wrong.
I didn't say it was wrong. The thing is, you'd have to do a turbo version of the engine to make it worth all that time and effort, because you have to go through all the wiring and all of that sort of stuff, as well as...
Aren't rotaries like this big as well, though?
Yeah,
like
they're tiny.
Big. The engine bay's like this big.
Oh, yeah, you get normal size engine bay.
There's only one solution for it then, Milton.
Mm-hmm.
You get 2 of the rotaries, you do the spashy smashy, and then you get 8 rotors, and then you put the bigger rotary in with the more rotors. Extra Doritos in your packet. Family bag.
Off topic ever so slightly, there is a company in America trying to do a big block rotary with a like double thickness and size rotor. I don't know how that's going at the moment, but
only the Americans would apply there's no replacement for displacement to the rotary engine.
Yeah. But before we move on from the NC, there's a couple of others that we should mention in the form of drift cars. Okay. One being Overboost's 1,000 horsepower LS.
It's not going anymore, though, is it? I think
somebody else has got it. They sold it on before they did their 5-cylinder S14. And somebody else is running it now. I don't know what. I haven't seen it for a while.
No.
That was cool, though, when it ran.
It was green and blue, wasn't it? Or bluey, greeny, lime.
Something like that.
Overboost or something it's called.
Yeah, it was an Overboost drift team. You'd search Overboost Mark 3 MX5, you'll find it easily. And then the other one is Mad Mike, who did an NC. It was a 4-rotor twin turbo with 1,200 horsepower, something like that.
Well, you never run it at that, but it's like 1,200 horsepower easy.
Yeah, he dialed it back, I think. And he ran that, for a year or two?
He competed, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he competed it as an NC.
In Formula D, right?
Yeah. And then what happened is, as the ND came out, I think before it was on sale, he basically bought all the ND body panels and stuck them to his NC. But it was so well done, everybody had thought he'd done an ND.
That's fair. And that kind of brings us nicely on to 2015, when, quite frankly, a thing of beauty appears.
It's a definite grower. It wasn't to start with.
Yeah, I wasn't sure on it to begin with, but
I hated the rear end.
I'm still not a fan of the
rear end.
I have liked that car since the day it was announced.
I'm a fan. I would buy them.
Mazda, sponsor us, Mazda, please.
Mazda, can I test drive all the new fun cars, please?
I've driven an ND. And Bryn missed out on coming with me as a passenger because he wasn't home on that particular day. And they've done something fairly good with it, because it is physically the same size, give or take 10 mil here or there, as the Mark 1. And it weighs about the same. And that's an incredible feat for a modern car with a lot of technology in it.
Yeah.
And safety. And it's got 50-50. Yeah, it does have 50-50 weight.
Yeah, all MX5's have 50-50
they've fully gone back to, I think they've got back in touch with its roots and gone, it doesn't need to be fat and cushy and like the NC. I think it's if I had money, I would have one in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I would as well. The thing I like is where they've taken and saved the weight. So, for example, on your side window, normally what you've got is the pane of glass that you can see when the window's closed, and then 6 inches underneath where it mounts. So what they've done is cut holes in that all the way down to save some weight. But they haven't lost any structural integrity, and it's like they don't need any of that.
Have they done one of those dimple things that Bryn likes?
In glass.
Dimple by your window.
Yeah.
No, I didn't realise he was talking about
the actual glass. So they've cut holes in the glass to save weight, and they've done do that on both sides.
Have they dimple melted the glass to keep it structurally? Like, just got a hot plate and just formed the glass.
Yeah, melted it.
Yeah.
This is what they've done everywhere. They've done little and often.
Can you imagine how excited Bryn would be the day one of us gets our hands on an ND and we open it up and there's just this little dimple mould in the glass?
Didn't Richard Hammond test it, and he said that he did they redesigned the radio system to save 3 grams or like 1 kilo.
They did some. I think one of the other things he brought up was the rear view mirror, and they said like 10 grams on it.
Yeah.
But you do 10 grams everywhere, and it soon adds up.
I remember being really excited about that because cars had been getting just bigger and heavier and bigger and heavier. And then Mazda came out when they were announcing it and said, this is going to be the same size and the same weight as an original one. And I was just like, yes, finally, somebody's going the opposite way. And they did a great job.
I think the RF version of it as well is like...
no, put it in the bin.
I'm on board with the RF until you put the roof down.
Yeah,
all the roof down on an RF reminds me of, like, visually, is like a T-top Supra.
Oh.
See, the look of it like that, that's fine. That doesn't bother me. It's where the actual roof bit itself sits behind the glass. It just looks awful.
It just looks wrong. It's like you could have bought the nice one, but you didn't have enough money, so it's like buying a Porsche Boxster.
Hang on a minute, you could have bought the nice one, but you bought the more expensive one?
Yeah, but it's like buying a Panamera. Yeah. You could have gone for a GT3 RS, but you went for the boring one. Just because it looks fancy.
So going back to the MX5, one of my favourite things is the actual soft top version. They've adjusted the roof so you can do it with one hand. So you've got one central clip.
It's in the Mark III as well, isn't it?
No, that's still 2. On the Mark IV, there's one central clip which you do, and you push it back, and then it clips into place. Then you flip. There's a little trigger in the center console that you flip. It pops up, and then you can just pull it forward.
That's cool. So it's got like little motors. Because
there's no motors in it. Spring loaded.
All mechanical.
So on the Mark 1 and the Mark II, when the roof goes back, it goes all the way over like that. This one, the top goes back and sits on top. So when you spring load it, the top comes forward, and then you literally just pull it forward.
Because on a Mark 1 or Mark II, you can't reach it if you've put it down. You have to get out of the car.
That's why they've changed the mechanism.
You put string on it or lanyards.
Wait. Mark 1s have soft tops?
I don't, because hard top, because race car.
Yeah,
saves 25.
Mine didn't in the end.
Saves 25 kilos.
Do you know where mine went, Milton?
In the bin.
No, I sold it to some guy for 200 quid.
Yeah. I can't remember what happened to mine. I think all the side had gone, so it was just... with the window up, it was just leaky anyway. So.
I was super tempted to try and build a tent out of it for camping, though.
I sold mine too, actually.
Bryn's doing a science.
Bryn's tired brain is doing a lot of science right now. So like,
find out whether I've chatted total shit about the NC because I can't remember now.
Those beautiful beady eyes.
What thing are you trying to remember about the NC, mate?
About the roof latch. I know it has 2 pins on either side, but I can't remember if it's actually. I can't remember where the catch is.
Oh, okay.
It's not important. None of this is important, but I need to know the answer.
It's all right. You come back to us in a minute. So, like,
let's see if I can beat.
So I think the important thing about the ND is, like, if you look at the power outputs, you took an 181 brake for the 2 litre on the ND2.
That's decent.
And 155 on the ND1. So, like,
I think that's one of the...
Where did they find an extra, 25 brake?
Yeah, it's clip on either side, Bryn. From this picture that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
This is something I like about the ND as well. They didn't fall into the trap of trying to give it 200-300 brake horsepower. They stuck to the whole low power rear wheel drive car fun.
Yeah, you say that, but it's still a bloody expensive car.
Yeah.
But I'd also be interested to know whether or not they fell down the Toyota trap of trying too hard to make it feel like a low-power car that drives good and actually compromising the handling, which is a big problem with the 86, the GT86.
So the 86 is very much one of those cars. And Toyota said this when it came out, actually. Toyota said, yeah, we've not done a lot to it because we know you're going to.
Yeah, that's one of the things
Toyota built a car for people like us that they know are just going to go, no,
They kind of did. The big problem with the Toyota is, like I say, that what they tried to do with the handling, they wanted to make a car that didn't need a lot of power for you to have fun. And they did a load of stuff with the suspension geometry to make it feel weighty and engaging on shit tires.
I was just about to look up the width.
When you put good tires on it, it becomes horrifically heavy to drive. And you try to put an angle kit on one for drifting, and the fucking steering is horrendous. It's got so much kingpin inclination to try and give it the steering feel that the geometry goes to shit.
Why is there so many GT86, BRZ, Scion FRS, whatever, in high-level competition? You've got Formula D, BDC.
Because at that level, you've probably replaced quite a lot of the chassis.
Yeah, at that level, you drop to 2JZ in it, and it's the only Toyota part is the chassis.
Yeah,
and Weissfab, I guess.
Yeah, and it's because if you want anything newer than 2000, that's something you can buy off the showroom floor because you're trying to get high-end sponsors.
Yeah, there's not much else out there, is there?
Yeah, that's
the 86. Supra's probably too expensive still.
No, there's
HGK are making kits for it, but if you've got Supra money, you can afford that anyway.
They're starting to come in now. There's about 4 in Formula D or so.
But the GT86 was the first of this revival of rear-wheel drive stuff.
Yeah.
It was the first one.
There's a lot of Mustangs now as well.
Anyway, back to let's not just bid on this any further. I mean...
speaking of Mark IVs and drifting, actually, Kyle Mohan had a Mark IV, was it 3 rotor?
Here's a fact for you. Every good NC or ND in competition drifting, spinny rotary things. It's the winning combination.
Well, are we just saying put Doritos in your MX5 and you're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Or if you're not very good, you still sound good. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of people sounding good when they're not very good, I'll be filming Milton this weekend.
Oh, we need to do our thing, don't we? This weekend didn't go very well, guys.
Are you going to do the other one, or have you just decided?
The gearbox did a explosion.
I'll put it in.
You turned the boost up so the engine did an explosion.
I tell you what, you'll know whether or not Milton did good at the weekend before the weekend video comes out. Because if it's done good at the weekend...
You won't see this explosion!
Yeah. Or something like that.
But if I suck, you will see it.
Or I'll just edit it in either way, and you'll have to watch the video when it comes out on Friday next week, probably, because I've got quite a busy week at work next week.
Yeah. Hoping to do well. It's at pod, but the weather is looking a little moist.
A little moist? That's an under description, mate. I've had to dig out the waterproof parts for some of the cameras again.
Yeah, I was going to say bring waterproofs. So it'd be good interest to try the Max Sports on the rear.
I'm going to spend the entire day sat in the spike boot filming Milton, just reverse it up to the track and have my little boot hanging out as a canopy.
They might not let you because of COVID regulations.
Well, technically, I'm still inside the gazebo on your stand if I don't get out of the car.
Try and get a good spot.
Yeah.
Bryn, remind me we need to talk about tyre pressures after the call.
4.
What's some men?
4. Yeah, you do need some pressure.
Some.
Done that science.
Drift spec. Okay. Not drift spec, drag spec. Really low pressure.
1.
Some, yeah?
Some.
Cool.
I think the realistic thing, we'll get back on topic now because we've gone for a little tangent for about 10 minutes. So what I don't get what you guys don't like about the RF.
It's just the way it looks.
I just don't like how the roof looks when it's folded down. The rest of it I'm fine with.
If they managed to make it so it was a metal roof that folded down and it then had the same silhouette as a soft top, fine.
See, the thing is, I would immediately buy an RF and never put the roof down.
No, do you know what the F? Do you know what the F stands for?
I'm not going to say that.
It's retractable fastback.
Yeah. Hence it not looking like a convertible when the roof's down.
But what Bam says, he would buy an RF and never put the roof down. That's the only reason to buy an RF. So what they should have done was made it a
coupe.
But they still, sorry, not convertible, yeah, coupe. But you can still take your roof off, but you buy an RF because you want it to look good with the roof on. That's the only reason to not buy the coupe.
But they don't look good because they can see this huge
I'm going to posit another theory to that, Brent. Right? We all know that if you put the hardtop on the Mk1 and the Mk2, it is stiffer. Marginally. Yeah? So I'm going to posit the theory here as well, that just because of the structure of the RF, it is a stiffer car than the soft top version.
Yeah, but nobody cares.
I mean, I care. You calling me nobody, Brent?
I try and argue the point on that, because I think that we're at a point now where they know to make a car stiff when you cut the roof off.
There's only one way to find out. If anybody works for Mazda, we need a soft top and an RF. We're going to do some tests.
Or if you've got some chassis stiffness figures, that'd probably be the easier but less fun way of finding out.
But if we do tests, we can do racy things.
And Bryn, you can make a spreadsheet.
You can do this. Bryn will do the science.
Spreadsheets, I love them.
You can measure stuff as well.
Oh, now we're on board, boys.
You can measure chassis twisting.
Vectors. It reminds me very much of the 2 or 3 Mk1 hardtops that got escaped.
Oh, what, the fastback one?
Yeah, the ones that were never meant to be produced, but somehow.
Mm. Yeah, but they should have kept with the slopey window. The roof doesn't go down, so they left the little glass so that they could get it over, and it just looks bad. You know what looks awful? Ford Anglia. Why do it again?
But it's not. If they'd have carried the boot line, the slopey bit all the way to the boot, like a fastback, fine. Yeah. But because it sort of goes like that, and then it's like, it just doesn't.
I mean, that said, I've always looked at the RF with its roof up, so now I'm just quickly going to go and have a quick shufty.
Go ruin your opinion of an RF.
live on recorded TV.
Would you like some stiffness figures for the NB and the NC?
I would.
It's got a number on the end of it, which I don't know what it means, of 5,219.
Okay, yeah, that's about right, yeah.
Doesn't specify what that is.
No units, then?
No. Maybe at the top of the page.
Is that for Mk1 or Mk2?
Hang on.
Give us facts!
I mean, I'm looking at the roof, right?
All values unit is in Newton meters / degrees.
Yeah, okay, so that's Newton meters of torque to twist the chassis 1 degree.
Okay, so a NA is 5,152.
That is not a lot.
The NB is 5,219.
Still not a lot.
Then the Mark 2.5 is 6,367.
Ooh, okay.
Which is getting better. And then the NC.
Is that with soft top or hard top?
Just the NC. It doesn't specify. 8,132.
Not bad.
But for the NB and the NC, I've got a few more figures.
Oh, okay.
So plus 1.3% torsional.
Right, what, like related?
I'm reading it exactly as it's written.
Right.
Plus 7.6% bending and 35% dynamic torsional.
Right.
I don't know what any of that means.
So
right. Now just to put those numbers into perspective, if you're looking at serious track cars, you're going to be looking more like 40,000 Newton meters per degree stiffness. So 5,000, not great, guys. Stop worrying about how stiff your MX5 is with your hardtop on, because it's still shit.
The interesting thing about that, so you bring that up, so the RX-8 is 30,000.
30,000 is pretty good.
A McLaren F1 is 13,500. 13.
Right. Right, so let's. I think we've just lost half the audience with science.
No, that was science. Everyone loves science because Bryn gets really excited.
It was not science. Bryn is not in his fluffy science. There we go. It's all right. It's safe. Yeah. It was science.
Science cape.
There's no science. Annoyingly, there's no figures for the ND.
We're all right.
Is that your safety blanket, Bryn?
It's my safety blanket.
It's no one can touch it.
I can't find anything for the ND.
So I've had a look at this. I've checked, right? And I have no idea what you're talking about with that roof because it tucks under the thing.
Yeah, but you can still see it.
No, you can't.
You can.
Not on the picture I'm looking at. I'm going to flash this up on the screen for all the lovely... I'll save what I'm looking at now. Right? And I'm going to put it up in the episode. And you can all see that. I think Matt might be wrong.
I physically looked at Mark IV. You can see the top.
We'll check.
Can we talk about... Now we've moved on to... Can we talk about race cars? And the Mark III and Mark IV race cars look pretty cool.
Mark IV race cars look mint.
I agree.
Hang on.
We've missed one thing about the ND that nobody's mentioned, and it's the most important thing.
It won Car of the Year Japan 2015 to 2016.
Shut up, Bam.
Soul Red.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good colour! Oh my god, it looks so good! There's one that parks in my work car park every day, every single day, and it's been there for 3 and a bit years. I walk past it and go, fuck me, that's a good colour.
Isn't your car soul red?
No, mine is fucking pink, Milton.
So moving back onto the race cars, the thing that I find most interesting about the all MX5 race car series is they don't use the NB in the UK.
They're not.
Nope. So you go to the
BRSCC.
BR, whatever the nanogram is.
British
Mark
Racing.
1s and Mark 3s, and then recently since the Mark 4 they've started using the Mark 4s, but no Mark 2s.
Is that because they're not allowed, or just they aren't?
I don't know.
I don't know. Actually, I've never looked into it, but
phone them now.
Phone them.
To put that statement into context for everybody, it's 9:00 on a Friday night when we're filming this.
It's not daylight as
we can tell by the fact the sun has gone down in my room.
Yeah.
No, I you know what? All MX5 race cars look pretty cool.
What about the Mark 1 race car? They did a Le Mans version, didn't they?
That looks
horrible. They did 2 Le Mans ones.
The ugliest paint job in the history of motorsport.
No, not that one. They actually did a JTCC car. Japanese touring car.
I mean, that's not Le Mans, that's Japanese touring car, but
I got confused, all right? But it was racing against Skylines and Nissan 300s ZXs. A little MX5, and then there's the big cars. I'm coming through now, okay.
I wonder what they were using to power that.
Hamsters.
That's lots of them.
Oh my god, it looks so good, that kit.
Doesn't it?
I think, let's stay on topic, boys, and let's get back to
Hang on. 13B, by the way, Bryn. But how can be more...
In what? A Mark 1?
In a Mark 1?
That's cool.
That explains why that was competitive then.
That's cool.
I think, getting back to things, right?
How can you get more on topic than a Mark 1 with a rotary in it?
Because that was for Milton. That should have been in part 1 of MX5's. This is part 2 of MX5's.
I just remembered.
I think we're 39 minutes into this episode, and we've kind of covered everything off that's interesting, and we're going off topic. So let's get to
broken Google.
Let's get to what Car Buzz is calling the 2023 MX5.
Right, okay, so we'll see that in there.
AKA the NE, right?
Which they could do a really clever one and make it electric.
They could.
I would hate it, but an electric car does have potential, as in performance. They just need to work out the batteries. We've talked about this before.
Mazda are not going to make an electric MX-5 yet. they came out quite a few years ago and pointed out the fact that the majority of their target audience obviously lives in Japan. And where the fuck are you going to charge an electric car up in rural Japan?
Mazda are one of the brands that are still trying to push the boundaries of what the internal combustion engine can do. So
the Sky Active engine, right?
Yeah.
Sky Active X engine.
But so I think that it's unlikely. It might be hybrid, but it's unlikely to be fully electric.
I mean, even then, they're still only doing mild hybrids, not full hybrids like Toyota are.
Yeah.
What? So the Sky Active, it was just off topic, but what's so special about the Sky Active X engine?
So
Sky Active.
Go on, Brim.
Scientist.
Put your jacket on, Brim.
The Sky Active does something that a lot of people have been talking about for a very long time. So it's not a new technology. It's called HCCI, which is homogeneous charge compression ignition. Basically, the idea is that you take a petrol engine and make it ignite like a diesel using compression without the spark, because it's very, very thermally efficient. You can run it like that. The difficulty is that diesels have a fuel that's designed to combust easily, and so you inject the fuel into the cylinder when you've already compressed the mix. But in a petrol engine, you kind of want to do the opposite, and you want to let it mix quite a lot, because one of the flaws with diesel is that it doesn't have time to mix. So you're trying to do two kind of opposing things at once. And all that Mazda did, long story short, is work out an ECU that could kind of handle that. So they have a spark plug that ignites the fuel sometimes, like when you want to go fast. And then when you want to cruise along at high efficiency, they run it like a diesel. And they've just got a really clever control strategy that allows them to do that efficiently.
That's cool.
That is cool.
There's so much more to it. That is like me trying not to go down a rabbit hole with what HCCI is. But Google HCCI and there's...
Can they make a lot of power as well?
They wouldn't make more power than a normal petrol engine. It's basically trying to make a normal petrol engine as efficient as a diesel at light load.
Yeah, because
so you get like 40 mpg to the racetrack, and then you can do 8.
Better than that.
Really?
Yeah, because they came out. I think we touched on this in another episode. They came out and said basically the CO2 that you get from building a electric car and then fueling an electric car for its entire lifetime only has to be compared to a normal petrol car. The petrol car only has to be like 20% more efficient to be better for the environment than an electric car, because they included the whole build process. And I think the Sky Active X engine is about 30% more efficient.
So over its lifetime, a Sky Active car will be more fuel, more planet.
According to Mazda's report from a few years ago, that Sky Active X engine is better for the environment overall over its entire lifetime, including the building of the car, than an electric car.
I have another science question.
Oh, God. We're wearing a coffee coat.
Why don't all cars run on... Well, why don't we make more cars run on E85 or more human-based? So basically away from fossil fuels. Not quite hydrogen.
So you want to use biofuel. Essentially with biofuel you can so Brazil grow most of their fuel from sugarcane.
That's what I mean. Why can't they do that? And then because you can get more power out of it, right?
The problem with one of the problems with the E85 or any kind of ethanol is you use twice as much.
Yeah.
By far, the biggest problem with trying to grow biofuel is that you have to grow it, which means you have to put it in fields. And if you haven't already noticed, any part of England that is not filled with people is already filled with fields, and that's to grow food.
Have you been to Scotland?
There is only one thing for it, Milton. We're going to have to kick everybody out of London and fill it with sugar beet.
Yeah, but there's ways round that.
No,
they can make things, science and stuff. So
there are, but the amount of biofuel we're currently using is like a tiny amount. And if you tried to convert all cars to run on biofuel, you simply can't grow enough. Now, obviously you should for other reasons, but it's not quite that simple. The nice thing about the nice thing about petrol is you dig it out of the ground, and the ground's not really being used for much else.
Apart from holding the planet up and together.
Apart from holding the planet up.
It's going to be future us.
What we need to do, right, is we need to get all the drug dealers in Birmingham. And all
they seem to grow stuff all right.
And all their hydroponic knowledge, right? And then we go down to the cavity left from the empty oil. And then we just put a hydroponic grow of sugar beet in there. And then we use the existing drill rig to pump the biofuel out. And it just goes on a tanker. And we don't tell anybody that we've replaced their oil with biofuel.
What about that world's deepest hole?
Everybody just say that was a ridiculous concept, but Bryn was nodding effectively to say it could work in theory.
Well, we've got big cavities to fill now, so why not?
Yeah,
there is a lot of stuff being grown in similar ways. There are problems with that though. Like if you put stuff underground, there's no sunlight down there.
That's why we need lots of electricity powered by our biofuel bread. How do you think?
You see how we're getting into the infinite energy problem here? What you've just said is
you're using energy to make energy.
Because we're the fuel to grow more fuel.
Because we're the source of energy. Because us here at Drug Dealer Biofuel are the source of the fuel, we will always make money out of that scenario.
But you won't.
We will. Because if they charge us more for the electricity, we'll just put the price of the fuel up.
Then you're in an infinite loop.
Until they realise that if they keep putting the price of the electricity up, they can charge everybody else for the electricity, but they need us for the fuel. So then they give us the electricity free.
My MX5 has pop-up headlights.
Anyway, what we've learned here is that when the NE comes out, buy it because the Sky Active is, as Milton said, more planet.
Sky Active X. Specifically the X.
Yeah. And you know what? I've like the sketches that are on Car Buzz, like the render is horrific.
Oh.
What they've done is taken what a current Mazda looks like with the mesh grille.
Yeah.
Crudely photoshopped that off the front of, say, a Mazda 6 and then just squashed it onto the front of an ND.
Yeah, that's
exactly the new car.
Now, I'm going to posit a slightly different theory of what it could look like. Does everybody remember the Mazda Vision?
The Fiore, the Top Gear burnt down.
Did they burn it down? Yeah, it's called the Fiore, as Clarkson, like as Clarkson. That's how I pronounced it. And it's got tail lights that are an X because it was in Forza.
No, there's is it the Kai? I think is the most recent version of this Mazda Vision.
Mazda Vision Coupe.
Yeah.
I've seen that as posited as the RX-9.
So,
in fact, I've seen that exact picture in a news story on a site similar to Car Buzz saying this is the new rear-wheel drive 6-cylinder Mazda 6.
But this is the thing, right? But I like that. That is a Mazda design. We know that much. We just don't know what it's for. But if you crop the top off that is going to make a beautiful MX5.
Yeah, I really like the Mazda RX Vision GT3 concept.
God.
But the future, the thing is, right?
Oh, yes.
The future, I've just dropped a nut from my camera if anybody heard that ping.
These nuts.
We're in a world where people, like 2023 is probably one of the last years we're going to see a pure petrol-engined car released in this country.
Yeah.
No?
Well, what's it? It's 20.
Take over.
Okay.
Oh, Britain for Prime Minister. But it's 2030 is the petrol engine sales, isn't it?
It's only brand new. But the thing is, if they're allowing them for sale in other countries, just import them.
That's true.
I feel like they might close that loophole somehow, but
no, I don't think I've seen anything that says they
No, because the British government's that smart. They'll do it. It'll go to 2035 and go, why is there so many new petrol? Oh, that's exactly.
Let's stop that boat. What's coming over from Japan?
They're stopping sales of brand new cars in Britain from 2030. So
aren't France doing something?
But the thing is, you can still buy hybrids, so you'll still be able to buy petrol and diesel engined cars.
Yeah.
They're just not allowed to sell pure internal combustion engine cars. So you'll still be able to go out and buy, say, a McLaren P1, which has 800 horsepower. You're not going to complain about that, even if it is a hybrid.
So what we're saying is the future of the MX5 is probably hybrid.
More than likely.
But definitely hydrogen.
And is there any limit on how much hybrid it has to be? What happens if they put a window? Hang on, Bam. Hang on, I've got an idea here, Bam. So you put a normal Skyactiv 4-cylinder in the front, maybe a turbo on it just for giggles, and then they get a window wiper motor with a little rubber wheel on it that attaches to one wheel. They go, that's electric powered. That's a hybrid.
Actually, what Mazda has suggested is they do an electric car. Well, they're hybrid, but not in a conventional way. They're going to put a single rotary engine in as a range extender. So the car will only drive the wheels with electricity, and it'll only ever be an electric car. But when the hybrid motor kicks in, all that will do is recharge the batteries. And that is way more fuel efficient than a normal hybrid.
Well, like Jeff from Top Gear.
Yeah.
And what you can do is pull up to the meet with your 200cc single rotor that you've ported to buggery. So it goes...
like a little one rotor RC car.
Yeah. And then you put up to the lights and you will smoke everyone because you've got efficiently 500 horsepower because electric motors.
And this is the thing, when people go on about efficiency and all the rest of it in hybrids, I don't understand why manufacturers aren't doing that, because that is the most efficient way of building a hybrid.
What about a diesel one? A diesel rotary.
Diesel is evil. We know that now because VW lied to us all.
But Mercedes now, apparently. But diesel rotary, is that possible?
We are never going to see a diesel MX5. So let's just forget about that point of conversation and say the answer.
The talk.
We've established that the answer. Sorry, Milton. I feel bad now. It's like shooting a puppy when I have to cut him off.
No, I'm Googling, so carry on.
Somebody's done a swap somewhere. I'm sure I've seen a video of it.
He's Googling for a Cummins diesel swapped.
Wankel diesel engine. It's a thing.
It is a thing, but I don't think it ever went in a car.
So Rolls Royce.
Okay.
Was it? Yeah, they'll have made one.
That is a future episode in itself. Then
we're doing the rotary at some point.
We are like we're 50 minutes in now, and we're chatting some right breeze about the future. So I think the sensible thing is that this week.
I know the answer.
He's been Matt.
Hi.
Okay, on that.
He's been Milton. He's been Bryn. The answer is still always MX5 and will be until they stop making them.
Hi, Lindsay.
Whoever Lindsay is, apparently.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Shout out to Lindsay, whoever Lindsay is.
We know who Lindsay is, just not you.
Okay.
I don't know why we're shouting her out, though.
I'm not sure why we're shouting her out.
Because she commented on a post and it was funny.
Okay. Shout out to Lindsay in that case. Thanks for watching another episode of Shooting the Shift. We will be back next week with some sort of topic about some sort of thing. If you're not subscribed, like and subscribe. We've been doing this for 6 months now. We are back out filming events. The last event video went live on Friday. We are filming Milton next when he does a drivey thing in the rain.
Are we going to do one episode or mates? Do you think we'll split into two?
Probably do. Depends how much footage I film on the day, to be honest. I don't know.
Bam, have you got an external mic for one of your GoPros?
Yeah.
In his engine bay if you want to see him jizz.
We're way off topic of
we will
saying
do that.
Now.
Right.
No,
so we are going to fit a mic. We are going to film and record the audio from Milton's engine bay. So thanks for watching this week. We will catch you next week. Have a good time. Don't do anything we wouldn't do. And if you do, don't get caught. Bye-bye.
Bye.